is you have this new development in the Bitcoin space, the creation of the Bitcoin, what is it called, the Bitcoin Futures ETF. How many of you have heard about that? Has anybody hear about the Bitcoin Futures ETF? Let me know if you've heard anything about it. This is a big deal. It was just announced, and do I recommend investing in it? I'm not going to invest in it, right? And here's the thing: ownership in the Bitcoin Futures ETF. The biggest thing you should understand is that ownership of the Bitcoin Futures ETF is not the same as owning an ETF that actually invests in Bitcoin. You do not own any Bitcoin when you buy into the Bitcoin Futures ETF. What they're doing is they're trading in futures contracts and in derivatives and things like that. That's very different from trading in the actual underlying asset. Okay, so effectively, you're not really getting additional Bitcoin exposure by doing this. The reason the Bitcoin Futures ETF is getting so much attention, in my view, is because it took a long time from a regulatory standpoint for it to get approved. Like for a long time, there weren't hardly any ETFs or financial instruments out there related to Bitcoin. So a lot of people feel, from a psychological standpoint, that this Bitcoin Futures ETF is a move in the right direction as it pertains to the widespread adoption of Bitcoin. Right, the more you see Bitcoin in the media, and the more you see any form of institutional involvement in Bitcoin on any level, even tangentially, what you're doing is you're bringing on that adoption of Bitcoin. And the thing is, right now it's very easy to buy Bitcoin. Anybody can buy it. It's become much easier in the last 5 years to buy Bitcoin than it was, say 2015 or whatever. But that's still not the holy grail, right? That's not the holy grail. The holy grail is when people are actually using Bitcoin for the purposes that it's theoretically intended to be used for, which is to actually buy and sell things for transactions, right? Bitcoin is not supposed to, on a fundamental level, just be an asset that you buy and hold in hopes that the value will go up, right? Bitcoin is supposed to be something that you use to go buy a pizza, or that you use to, buy shoes from your friend. All that kind of fell apart when we started seeing so much volatility in the price of the asset. Nobody wants to hold Bitcoin if you're doing transactions, because what it does is it kills all the certainty of doing business. Business owners don't want to think like, okay, I'm getting this currency, like I'm charging, point 0.01 Bitcoins per pizza, and then the price of Bitcoin goes up 30% overnight, or goes down 30% overnight. Then suddenly, I'm losing money because I'm taking payment in a currency that is not a stable currency. So stability is extremely important in the widespread adoption of any currency anywhere in the world. So Bitcoin, I think this move is good. A Bitcoin ETF would be better. They still haven't regulated that, or they haven't allowed that. The regulators haven't. But I would like that, because then you can buy an ETF and you're directly owning Bitcoin, because that's what the ETF would actually do, is go buy Bitcoin on your behalf, and you would be an owner in that pool of resources. So the Bitcoin Futures ETF is big news, but it's mostly big news because it's just something that people are talking about. And whenever people start talking about Bitcoin, the price tends to go up, right? Elon Musk tweets about it, it goes up. And it's really crazy for, things like Shiba Inu. I think Elon Musk tweeted about his dog, and the price of Shiba Inu shot through the roof. And so, I don't necessarily know if I would trust my family's wealth to be contingent upon whether or not Elon Musk tweets about his dog. And that's one of the reasons why I reiterate to be very careful about things like the Shiba Inus or whatever. If you want to do it. Like, but just know that it's fun. It's gambling. It's not investing. But at the same time, Bitcoin and Ethereum. If you want to know where I'm targeting most of my crypto, it's those two assets. I feel really good about those two. The rest of the stuff, I dabble in it, but I'm not really taking it all that seriously. All right. So another interesting development on the business front, besides what's going on with the Bitcoin thing, is also, I just saw today, the Southwest Airlines is reconsidering its mandates. They had a mandate where they said that all the employees that didn't get the jab were going to be put on paid leave or something like that, until they decided they were going to give them a religious or medical exemption, and they took that off the table. And I think that what they're doing now is they're saying any new employee that comes into the company is going to have the shot. but the old employees are not. And what I think is really happening right now is you're having a labor market that is highly resistant to any form of restriction that's being placed on employees. Right now, the labor market, this is a workers' labor market. Workers get to decide the tune of things. It's not. It's like right now in real estate. In real estate, it's a seller's market. So buyers can't come in making all these demands like, oh, I need this and I need that and I need this and I need that, because the sellers will be like, well, I got 20 other sellers that that I can go to right now. So you better do what I say or you won't get this property, right? Well, right now with the labor market, it's the same thing. It's a workers market. So workers, people don't want to go back to work. There's more available. I saw a politician, I don't know who it was, I don't know if it was Democrat, Republican, but they tweeted something that is true. She said there are more available job openings than there are people in who are unemployed in the United States. So pretty much everybody who's unemployed, if they wanted a job, they can have one because there's jobs everywhere. A lot of you have gone places. I went to the Cheesecake Factory last week, and when I was there, they said we had to take half of our menu off because we can't find workers. So um, I was really curious in terms of, okay, how are you going to enforce these mandates when people don't even want to go back to work for you anyway? A lot of people are quitting their jobs. Millions of people are quitting their jobs. They call it the Great Resignation. It's happening right now, and I'm loving it. I'm excited about it because if you guys know, I started the Black Wealth Boot Camp in 2015, and I've been telling Black people to get off the corporate plantation for years because I figured out maybe about 20 years ago how much of your life is drained by getting up and going to work every day. I sat there and I thought about it. I said, wait a minute, I'm gonna spend 8 hours a day at work and another 2 hours a day going to and from work, getting ready for work and all that stuff. So that's 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's 50 hours a week. So over a course of a year, I'm spending 2,500 hours a year at this job, right? Now, mind you, in a year, you only have 8,760 hours available. And about a third of that time you're going to spend sleeping. So you're damn near spending half of your waking hours at this horrible place, where you're dealing with disrespect and racism and stress and everything else, all these health effects that come from going to work every day. Just being in traffic, you don't know this, but just being in traffic can cause negative health effects. There was a guy, my realtor told me about a guy where the his doctor told him that that his doctor told his wife, do not let him drive to work because he could die. Like he could literally just have a heart attack or a stroke because all just that stress of going to work every day is could make the difference between life or death for him. So literally the stress is everywhere. And I remember thinking, I don't want to live like that. And the God bless my parents for giving me the courage to be different. I never wanted to fit in. I didn't care what everybody else was doing. I felt confident enough in my intelligence to say I could come up with an independent assessment. And if no one else on earth agreed with me, I could agree with myself. I trusted myself and my instincts, and my instincts said, "This whole getting up and going to work thing, man, that's for the birds. You're missing your life. And so what happened was, that was one of the reasons why I had no problem being in school till I was 31. I was like, well, I mean, I'd be going to work every day. At least I can go to the movies on a Tuesday and take afternoon naps. And I was being productive. I was working on my PhD, and when I got my doctorate done, I took a job at Syracuse University where I went to work twice a week, and I got to spend hundreds of hours on the phone with my grandmother, the only other person I knew who would be home on a Tuesday afternoon. And I got to talk to her for hundreds of hours before she died in 2013. That's my grandmother back there on the wall. She's the Black Business School Panther. And then her name's Felicia. That's the name of our Panther. And then also after that, I even got tired of Syracuse, and I said I want to leave this place because apparently the racism doesn't disappear when you go to the top of the plantation, right? So, when you're a professor and you're making 100 and something thousand a year, you think like, okay, I'm at the top of the plantation, so the racism is different. The air is going to be different. But if you're in a building, the air at the top of the building isn't that much different from the air at the bottom. And I didn't know that until I knew that, right? So then I said, I want to go outside. I want to go into a place where there is no ceiling, right? There is no roof, and that's when I became an entrepreneur. So I would say to you that the best way to give your children freedom in this society is not through politics, not through praying for them or hoping for the best or waiting on white people. And just get them economic independence. I don't know a single financially secure Black person anywhere who does not feel pretty free with their life. Seriously, most of the day-to-day instructions and control that you experience comes from your boss telling you that you didn't ask for permission to go to the bathroom, and or you got to be here by 9 o'clock, right? So just make it simple. Don't make it complex. It's not that complicated. If a person who has money in their pocket is usually going to be in a safer, more secure place than a person who's flat broke. So make sure your children aren't flat broke. Prepare them now. That's your job. Okay, you got one job. Do you understand the assignment? Ain't there a song about that? I understood the assignment. All right. So anyway, so that's the assignment from Dr. Boyce. All right. So let me answer a couple more of your questions that you submitted here. Let me see here. Let me open this back up again. All right. Here we go. Let's see here. Charles Hawkins says, I have business ownership, real estate, stocks, and crypto and a podcast. Any recommendations on networking communities? I need to be around a new group of people who can elevate me. I'm 37 and I don't know people that think like me. Please help me. I'm desperate. Thanks. Okay, well, I totally get that, Charles. I totally get that, and exactly how you feel. I know that feeling very well. I mean, I felt that way a big chunk of my life. Growing up, I didn't fit in with white people because I wasn't white, and I didn't fit in with some black people because I wasn't stupid. Some of the people that I knew just did stupid stuff, and I'd be like, I don't understand what being black. I don't understand what knowing how to dance has to do with being black. Me being black is should mean a lot of things, but it doesn't mean I have to talk a certain way or walk a certain way or whatever. That wasn't who I was. And so I had to figure out. I had to become comfortable with myself, and I did, and it was good, in that I became an independent thinker. But it was tough because I didn't fit in with anything. And the more advanced you get, like the harder working you are, the more determined you are to be successful, the more you find, everybody ain't there, right? Everybody's not at that same level, right? And you got to forgive them, for they know not what they do. Um, and what you don't want to do is you don't want to dumb yourself down just so you can fit in. I see that a lot. I see people on social media trying to be stupid because they think the whole world is doing stupid stuff, so they just go along with that. That's dumb to me. So what I think is really good for you is whatever kind of person you're trying to be. You really want to find a space where there are similar people out there. Online, there are plenty of forums and groups for Black business owners or Black wealth builders, things like that. We have some stuff, right? If you look up my name, you look up Black wealth builders. We actually have Black wealth building groups online on Facebook, various communities, things like that. But then I think there's something about being in person with other people and being around other human beings. And so I think that forming an investment club or some sort of club or social gathering kind of scenarios with people that maybe live in your same area could be beneficial. I know I'm Blag Enough, BLAGGENUF, Blag Enough, BLAGGENUF.com. We actually have a function where you can actually find Black people that live in your area, that live like 20 miles from your house. And so that's an option. And if you want to look at that, but and also at the All Black National Convention, our number one goal this year was to solve that very problem. That's why we incorporated speed dating. We put speed dating on the agenda because that's what we saw people were having an issue with. That if you're blackity black and you're B1 and that's not a typical kind of blackness. Like you're not like this blackness in this space it's not like Black Lives Matter blackness, right? Like you can identify with some Black Lives Matter, but you're also the person who says, well, I looked at the Black Lives Matter website and it's very anti-family and I'm pro-family and that doesn't resonate with me. Or blackness doesn't just mean that you follow somebody's favorite rapper or that you voted for the black politician, right? It's a different kind of blackness where you engage in a little bit more critical thinking. You're thinking about a little bit more empowerment. Even people in our space, they even challenge some of the HBCUs. Like Dr. Claude Anderson challenges Howard and other HBCUs a lot because he says the reason that you don't have any money is because all you're doing is you're producing employees. They go work for white people, whereas Black people in this space are a little bit different. You're the ones who are saying we don't want to create more employees. We want to create more employers, right? And so ultimately, that you're just not going to fit in a lot of spaces. I know this. I know this because I've dealt with. Like I'm actually stunned. Like I think we hit almost a quarter billion views on my YouTube channels. Like over the years, like we added it up one day and we're like, whoa, we're almost at a quarter of a billion views. That to me was massive. for a couple of reasons. One, because we did it without any support. We didn't have corporate support. We didn't have government money. No banks gave us like big bank loans or anything. We did get one business loan for $10,000 in 2014 from a guy in Africa, and we paid him back in a year ahead of time. And then we never had to, like, nobody really gave us anything, right? So that made us really proud. This was purely an independent platform. And then the second thing that was astonishing is that, a lot of people don't resonate with this stuff that we talk about. Like, a lot of people just aren't ready. And even I wouldn't have been ready for this 25 years ago. When I was 25 years old, I thought blackness meant certain things. I thought it meant, like, okay, I'm going to vote for Bill Clinton. Like, back then it was Bill Clinton. I'm going to vote for the Democrats. I'm going to complain about racism all day. I want to show these white people how smart I am. So I'm going to study hard and make straight A's so I can be the best student and get the best job. And I like these things that you're raised to believe, right? The civil rights superstars, you kind of idolize all that. I grew out of that in my 30s and realized, wait, there's another level, there's another floor to the building, so to speak. Like, there's another level that they don't talk to us about in school. There's another level when it comes to wealth. There's another level when it comes to politics. There's another level when it comes to where your spirit needs to be. There's another level when it comes to achievement. And so I'd like to kind of see if we can operate on that next level, because to me that's where the freedom lives. The freedom is on that fifth or sixth level. It's not on the second, third, or fourth level. And so, long story short, what it means is that I know for a fact that only about one or maybe two out of every 10 Black people is going to be able to sit and listen to me without getting pissed off or offended. At some point, eight of those people are going to say, okay, this is too radical. He thinks he's uppity because he's talking about trying to be intelligent. I don't get this because this doesn't fit with whatever culture I'm connected to, right? Or he's a sexist or a homophobe or whatever, because he called out Lil Nas X and Lizzo, so that means he's this and this and this, and that's fine, right? So in my mind, it's like you've got that. This is what I consider to be the talented 10th, because you can't convince me beyond any doubt that the people who do the things that we talk about on this platform, if they're applied, are not going to have extremely successful children. Like, think about it. Think about what our core values are very basic. The Black core of three. One, we believe Black people should educate our own children, because we got too many damn smart Black people for y'all to be letting your kids get educated by their oppressors who are going to teach them all the wrong crap. Two, we should create our own jobs. Some of us can still work for white folks, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't work for white folks and have an empowered community. That's just not going to happen. You cannot have a community full of employees and beggars and borrowers and really think you're ever going to have power. And then three, support Black businesses. That is keeping wealth in our community and not giving all that money away to other people. Those basic ideas, if someone applies those things, they're going to be successful, because you're not stuck in this matrix. You're not stuck in this loop of sort of waiting for other people, or hoping that white people decide to change their minds, or waiting for them to give you an opportunity, or waiting for them to validate you and to accept you. You already accept yourself. This is not new, though. China kind of already does this. This is how China rose from being an afterthought in the global stage to becoming one of the great superpowers of the world. They literally did something very similar to what we're doing. They said, we're going to put ourselves first. We're going to take care of China. We're going to educate our people to the highest level. We're going to, the Americans are not better than us. We're not looking to go to America to validate ourselves. We want our best and brightest to stay home in China. So if you come to the All Black National Convention, what you'll see is you have 60 speakers. Many of them have PhDs. Many of them are millionaires, independent millionaires. Many of them they've gone in corporate America and done extremely well, but many of them also are fathers and mothers and leaders and social workers and attorneys and English professors, like just so many people in this group that are the best and brightest. Why isn't that our brain trust? Why are we not leaning to people like that to give us guidance, instead of leaning to Brown University with a bunch of white people that are going to charge you $300,000 to get a college degree and then teach you how to be, Negropean as possible. I'm not saying those places are bad and you can't gain from them. I'm saying that we've already done that for 50 years, 60 years, and it hasn't gotten us anywhere, right? So we have to think differently, right? So thinking different means you're going to be different, which means that you're not going to fit in everywhere. You got to get comfortable with yourself. if you want to be part of a group and you don't see the group that you're looking for, create the damn group. I came on the internet years ago. I didn't see my group. I didn't see anybody doing doing things that resonated with me, to be honest with you. Not that many people. A couple exceptions. Like I saw Louis Farrakhan. I said, okay, I get that. That's a strong black man. He's leading. He's talking about doing for self. I like this, right? But outside of that, I didn't see a lot of people, right? And I said, since I can't find the group, let me create the group. Let me find the other people, the other misfits, and let's make us the cool kids in the room. So that's what it is. That's the philosophy, and that's what's worked really, really well. So do the same thing in your own life. Start with self-love, self-confidence, and then when you resonate that and you just move with that, and you're making moves and you're being successful, then what'll happen is, instead of you trying to follow everybody else, people are just going to start following you. You got to do that. Very important. All right. So the next question here that you submitted is, let's see here. Tamika says, how do I purchase stock for my daughter? I'm new to stocks myself, but feel it's a good idea to get my daughter, who's in college, something more valuable as a gift, one that appreciates versus depreciates. Okay, so Tamika, what you could do is a couple ways you could do it. You can actually, well, your daughter's in college, so she's not a minor, so you don't have to worry about things like custodial accounts and stuff like that. Which, by the way, I think custodial accounts are, you got to be careful about custodial accounts, because they give your child possession of the money. Like, your child actually owns the stock and owns the money. And I told you guys, with my kids, I don't let my kids own nothing. I tell them I own it all until I decide that I'm going to give it to you. Right. Because, because kids are young. Their brain isn't even fully developed till they're 25. And then some people just stay dumb pet till the age of 35. Right. So I think controlling the resources is really important. But letting them know that it's there for them, and maybe putting it in a trust. There are people that go see their attorneys to set up trust for their kids, things like that. But more specifically about getting stock for your daughter, it could be as simple as you want it to be. What I did with my son is, when he went to college, my gift to him was, I said, I'm going to cash app you $1,000. And I said, I want you to take $500, and I want you to do whatever you want to do with it. That's your choice. But I need you to promise me you're going to take the other 500 right there in Cash App and buy some stocks and show me the stocks that you bought. Right. And it's really that simple. I don't think you have to buy the stock for them. I think you can send them the money, and then just maybe as a game, just kind of say, well, show me the stocks you bought. Like, all I need is for you to show me what you bought. But then the hard part, though, is that's where their choice comes into play. Like, you can tell them, look, once you buy it, hold it. Don't sell it. Don't sell it. A lot of times they're going to sell it. That's what people do, right? But some of you are going to have kids that are going to actually hold it. And one thing you might want to do is actually just buy some shares for them and hold them for them, and not even let them know that the shares exist, and then give it to them as a gift on their 30th birthday. Like, I bought this stock for you. I've been buying, $20 a week in stock for you for the last 15 years. And it was a company like Apple that's gone up dramatically. So now here's, $40,000. Happy birthday. Right. So that might be the best approach. All right. So next question. The next question is from Dave. Dave says, years ago, I opened an account with E-Trade where I rolled over IRA funds from a previous employer. I started your options trading course. To begin my current investment portfolio, should I wait to trade only options, or should I invest the $200 I transferred to E-Trade in random stocks that you recommend? I would start with stocks. I would start with Dave with creating like a financial kind of a bed of liquidity. Remember, options have some volatility. Options can have a lot of ups and downs that can cause crazy things to happen to your portfolio. So you can do that, but I wouldn't make the majority of my portfolio options, because I think that options have a lot of extra risk. But there are ways to minimize the risk, right? So, and by the way, I think it's stockoptionsmasterclass.com. If you guys want to take a look at the options masterclass, it's stockoptionsmasterclass.com. And that, we kind of break down option strategies and stuff like that. You can feel free to take a look at that. All right. So what is your opinion of the Bitcoin ETF? Ask Junior. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Basically, the Bitcoin Futures ETF, it's not ownership in Bitcoin. It's just It's more the value that I see is more symbolic than substantive, right? The symbolism is Bitcoin is institutionalized a little bit more, which will hopefully lead to more widespread acceptance, which will in the long term lead to an increase in the price of Bitcoin. That's why the Bitcoin's been doing really well actually in the last week or two, if I'm not mistaken. Bitcoin shot up quite a bit. I predicted earlier in the year, Bitcoin, it's at about 63,000, 62,000, something like that. I predicted early in the year it would hit 108,000 by the end of the year. And I believe that that was a good prediction. I just did not anticipate how much um, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, FUD, would be created to cause the price to keep dropping. But I think that if you take all that out of the equation, I think Bitcoin would be over 80,000 at least by now. I think by the end of the year, I think it could hit 80,000. I really, because all the indicators just say it's going to go up because people don't even want to sell it. When Bitcoin, you know, when Bitcoin is moving in price, they literally will say something like 80% of all the Bitcoin is in accounts that are locked where people are not selling anything, right? So if you increase the demand for something and the supply remains flat, then that increases the price. So I'm really bullish on Bitcoin. Now someone's asking, where can I get the stocks that you purchase? If you log in at theblackstockmarketprogram.com, theblackstockmarketprogram.com, you can actually go to the section on the bottom that says what Dr. Boyce is buying. It should be under extra courses bundled with your course. So if you can't find it, if you have any problems at all, actually, just email support at theblackbusinessschool.com. Somebody please type that in so others can see it. It's support at the THE, don't forget the THE, at support at theblackbusinessschool.com. Okay. We have a great support team that is right there waiting to talk to you to make sure you are 100% happy. Same thing is true with the convention. The convention is next week. If you have any questions about the All Black National Convention, you can also email support at theblackbusinessschool.com. And if you want to get information about the convention, we are going to do stocks and really everything, like literally all the characters and individuals that we have brought in. I say characters meaning like just these interesting people that we've connected with throughout the year. A lot of them are going to be there at the convention. We have 60 speakers. Dr. Ken Burns is an interesting guy. He's out of Detroit, and he is the head of the Black Business League, started by W.E.B. Du Bois. And started by Booker T. Washington. Sorry, scratch that. Booker T. Washington, not Du Bois. Booker T. All right, and they have thousands of Black businesses in this organization. And so Ken Burns is global. He is a smart brother who has a PhD from Michigan State University. And I talked to him, and me and him hit it off like that. And I just listened to him. I said, okay, I know smart people when I see them. And this guy is doing some amazing stuff in terms of connecting Black businesses to Africa. I said, I'm so impressed with what you're saying. I want to go to Africa with you. So we're going to actually, and Dr. George Fraser, he's not coming to this convention. He was at the last one. But Dr. George Fraser, who is a wonderful guy, he's on my Mount Rushmore of great Black men. If I built a Mount Rushmore, I would put George Fraser, Dr. Claude Anderson, Louis Farrakhan, and Kenny Gamble on this Mount Rushmore because these are amazing guys. And Dr. George Fraser is also doing diplomatic missions to Africa. That's the kind of stuff that we need in terms of leadership in the community, where you've just got these really empowered Black people that have, that have organizations of their own. They're nation builders that can go and connect with Africa. This isn't like going through the State Department or waiting for Joe Biden to give you permission. They just go and they're doing business, and it's amazing. There's a lot of really interesting stuff happening. So we'll be talking about that at the convention. So I hope you guys will come out. All right. So what are your thoughts on the ProShares Trust, DAT, MAKX, and CTEX? I can look those up. But Linda, if you want detailed responses on that, just next week, leave the question, like log in at the blackstockmarketprogram.com. And there's a part at the top where you can leave questions for me for next week. And then that way I can kind of dig in and research it a little bit. But let me